How are you all? The UPDF spokesperson yavuddeyo n'ayogera na journalists nga boogeraganya ku byabaddewo ebya journalists being hurt and all nga baagala apology from Major General Henry Matiko naye teyalabiseeko sending the representative eyayogedde ne bannamawulire. This is still Rant, Juliana and Emma. Thank you for subscribing, sharing and liking if you have done so. If you haven't done so, please go ahead and do so.
And I'm particularly here wearing the hat of the Chief of Defense Forces, who would have loved to address this subject himself, but due to other pressing matters, he regrettably couldn't make it, but he sends his warm greetings and in advance is wishing all of us a happy New Year 2021. Friends, this year into next year, the Uganda People's Defense Forces will be celebrating 40 years since it was founded. And we are celebrating this unique event under the theme celebrating UPDF at 40 years, fruits of a fulfilled partnership of maintaining and consolidating people's security, stability, and prosperity. As you can see on that banner, that is the theme under which we shall mark this event. Friends, this is an annual event celebrated by Ugandans in general and UPDF in particular, commemorating the 6th of February 1981. That's what is in Kiswahili referred to as Tarehe Sita. 40 years ago, on 5th February 1981, a few patriots started a journey that took them through the region of Greater Masaka and on to attacking Kabamba Barracks. This marked the commencement of a determined resistance in the form of a popular and protracted struggle by the people against dictatorial regimes. Tarehe Sita celebrations mark and recognize heroism, gallantry exhibited by the few young Ugandans who made the foundation upon which UPDF rests today as a people's force and a vanguard force in the struggle to achieve socio-economic transformation. This year, the main activities will be conducted in Greater Masaka. And Greater Masaka is identified because of its significance. One, earlier on in the 70s, we had anti-Amin struggles. 1972-73, there was a confrontation between Idi Amin's army and forces which were fighting to restore sanity and those main activities occurred in Masaka area. In 1978-79, the war which involved the Tanzania People's Defense Forces working with some Ugandan groups like Chikosi Marum and Fronasa were mainly conducted their activities through Masaka axis. However, directly linked to Tarehe Sita, Greater Masaka was the corridor through which the few patriots under the leadership of then young Yoweri Kaguta Museveni traversed to attack Kabamba barracks. In this regard, Greater Masaka qualifies to be the launch pad for Tarehe Sita. Those of you who may not know our recent history, in the final stages of the protracted People's War in 1985, Greater Masaka became home of the final decisive battles such as the siege of Masaka Barracks, the Rwengo operations, and the famous Katonga battles that culminated in the defeat of the Uganda National Liberation Army along the Allied forces before Kampala fell on 26 January 1986. Additionally, we had not held these events in this particular region. We've been holding these events on a rotational basis, and most regions have hosted this. Now, what do we do when we are celebrating Tarehe Sita? We carry out what we call civil-military cooperation activities. All armies hold this function of civil-military cooperation as an important ingredient of operations of the military. So, in this year particularly, the Department of Political Commissariat and our major department of civil-military cooperation will spearhead mobilization and activities with the population which will take cognizance of the circumstances under which we are operating of the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, and also the uniqueness of our 40th anniversary being a significant period the Army has journeyed. We shall, on top of Greater Masaka, do also some activities in the capital city, which is Kampala, so there will be limited symbolic civil-military cooperation activities also in the city. What shall we be focusing on? This year, the forces recognizing that we cannot do activities which involve a lot of crowding are interested in carrying out home-to-home and closer community operations like public health areas where we shall get involved in sanitization, fumigation, and general cleaning. However, this particular year, in conjunction with the National Forest Authority, the forces are targeting to plant more than 5 million trees as a way of recognizing the contemporary and topical issue of climate change. Our forces have been mobilized. They will operate wherever they are, but particularly the areas where we are going to focus during this period of observing our 40th years to ensure we contribute to the agenda of mitigating climate change activity problems. In this, we look forward to working closely with different sectors of the population, especially the young people. We look at opportunities for them to invest in the green industry. As the Army, our business arm, the National Enterprise Corporation, we have already a plan to go in that direction, and we hope through our civil military cooperation activities during this period, our youth, our young people, can benefit from what NEC is already putting in place. I want to use this opportunity, friends, to announce that as routine, our own departments shall engage in some renovation activities, some public and community-related activities have been identified, and our engineers are already in the field, and they are going to conduct several renovation activities in different constituencies where we shall be. The details are available, but on the whole, we have the following activities. Starting tomorrow, the Command-in-Chief will officially launch the beginning of these 40 years anniversary activities, and he will do it at Katonga, where the Army is going to set up a historic national military museum, and tomorrow His Excellency will lay a foundation stone for the construction of the first ever national military museum in our country. Our engineers who are already in the field are going to do work in Masaka City, in Masaka District, in Karungu District, Nibukomansimbi District, Nirwengo District, Karangara District, the municipalities of Shira and Nansana in Wakiso, and works in the Kampala City, Capital City Authority. And particularly in Kampala Capital City Authority, we are already closely working with KCCA authorities. Our doctors equally are going to be in the field, and in the Masaka area they will be engaging in surgical camps. They have identified these camps to be held in all constituencies of the 5 districts in which we are going to operate.
When I'm trying to explain something to somebody and I just don't have all the words that I need, it's at the tip of your tongue, it's just out of...
Other programs which we are going to observe this week, our military leaders shall visit the districts, and on 30th we shall have a major launch of the activities at Masaka City, and here the people will be informed and also sensitized about what will take place during this period. On 31st, in all the districts where we are going to operate, also our military leaders with some of the political leaders will launch the activities at the district headquarters, signaling the beginning of our forces to be out to work with the communities. So this Terehesita is not going to be like the normal ones we have, because in the past we would do activities which end on 6th of February, but for the 40th anniversary, we want to conduct a year-long activities in the areas I have already mentioned about. One other consideration, given the times we are in, is that this will be an opportunity for UPDF to closely link up with the population in consolidating what we call foundation security, because we think people must participate in their own safety, like we have been enforcing Ministry of Health event is killing two birds with one stone. We hope it will give us an opportunity to closely have links with our people as in line with our functions provided by the Constitution. Our function, core function number 3, if you read the Constitution, states that we are obliged to foster harmony and understanding between ourselves as a force and the civilians. So this anniversary provides us an opportunity at this point in time when there are many challenging, unique situations which need the vigilance of the population, which calls for discipline of the population to ensure that we foster harmony and understanding as each of us plays their role. So we enjoin you as media to work with us, because as I said, people-to-people contacts will be limited. The defense spokesperson who will be spearheading the publicity program requires maximum support, because we think in celebrating this particular event, it should be media heavy. So we use this opportunity to enjoin you into also focusing on this important event as you focus on other areas that concern the public, the government, and humanity as a whole. With those remarks, I want once again to thank you, thank the moderator, and bring again the message or the greetings of the Chief of Defense Forces, who calls you or calls upon you to remember some of the issues he raised when he held a major security brief in the recent past. And in this security brief, he did emphasize that the army, as much as possible, will remain on the side of the population under whatever circumstances. And secondly, as we deal with any challenges, the bottom line is that we cannot look on to cases that slide into impunity. If all our people avoid impunity, the army will smoothly work with all stakeholders. The problem comes when some sections of our stakeholders slide into cases of impunity. I am going to be around briefly for some of the clarifications you may need on Terehesita or any other matter you think I am qualified to comment on. Thank you for listening to me, for God and my country.
Thank you very much. We are going to have fewer questions because it's going to another place. After answering the questions and the concerns, then we go into our normal press, the security press briefing that we have every Monday. Number one, let me get these questions first.
My name is Gabriel Fuller. We are here comfortably listening, but not just that we are listening, but we are in fear. We are journalists and you need us. For years, we've been beaten, we've been stabbed. Some of our friends are lame now. May can no longer play 6 now. I was beaten the day I was, this guy, Bobby Wine, was arrested. Badly beaten. But it's the same song. It's becoming a norm for us to be battered. We don't come here because we like you guys, because we fear. Now it's becoming deliberate that they are targeting us. It is sad that yesterday, the one Eno Kabaine went to a journalist and told him the same thing I was told when I was being beaten. Collateral damage. The collateral damage is soon becoming catastrophic damage. We are asking ourselves, how many are you going to kill? How many are you going to lame? How many are you going to beat? We are sad. We are really sad. We wake up from our homes, we go, and our children look at us, thinking that we are going to die at the hands of people who are supposed to protect us.
So you've made your point.
Protect me.
Yes.
I'm talking to the superiors. You are not going to feed my 2 children when I die. You are not going to feed their children when they die. As I wind up, fellow journalists, this is what I'm telling you. We either get answers from them, or else you should stop coming here to cover them. I can open my trouser to show you. You know, it is sad. It is sad. We are being beaten by men in uniform who are paid by the money cut from our little salaries in the name of taxes. We get as little as they get. We don't care whether the president is Chakulani, whether it is Besigye, whether it is who. We are delivering information to the member of public. We've been your partners. Myself, I've been I called a funding number to tell you to report a crime. But is this how we are appreciated? This is not fair. Before we listen to you officers, please answer us. How many are you going to beat? How many are going to die before before our children are orphaned? We are sad. I'm speaking this in fear, and I don't know.
Your point was really good.
My name is Abaka Dua. I'm a photojournalist and work with the Daily Monitor. My concern is not so different from his, because right now we have a journalist who was shot at by a police officer in Masaka, actually the RPC himself. And right now, some bones have been removed from his head and he's undergoing treatment. We are here, as you were talking, Afande, you said we call upon the media, we are all partners. We agree and we appreciate the partnership. But how are we going to work with you when you can't protect us? When we go out there to work, it's about protection. The terrorist that you're launching right now, the first bullet was shot to bring peace to the people of Uganda. There is freedom for media, and if media can't express itself, then why should we keep celebrating terrorist? We are the people who publicize this, and we are beaten. Of course, for me, I've been scared. Phone calls have been made. I don't care what happens tomorrow, because at least my case has been. I've put out my voice to you, and now what we are demanding for, we want the security agencies, not only police, because it's not about only police that is harming journalists. We want the security agencies to come out, issue a statement. Of course, they have issued other statements, but we want you to be on record. We have always been demonstrating, working to police, and as we are working for freedom of the media, still we are beaten. So we are sorry to interrupt your function, but we have come here to cover your function actually, just like even after beating us. But to tell you that there is a journalist who's on crutches right now, Daniel Rutaya. We have Ali Mivule. His leg was beaten. Ashraf.
After 2018.
He's no longer employed. So we are asking, where's the protection that Tarehe Sita launched 40 years back? That's only what we are asking for. We are only asking you to release a statement warning the security, the police officers to please let the media work.
We don't want statements, sir. We don't want statements. We want
At least,
That guy in Masaka should be behind bars right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us be orderly and get the
Let me first respond to these sentiments. Let me first respond to these sentiments.
After as I conclude, we request that the RPC of Masaka should be called to order. He should be arrested and he should be charged, because someone is lying in ICU. Actually, Ashraf is in ICU.
Okay,
Journalism
point
is
to
not a
receive.
crime.
Let me, first of all, I feel for anybody who is concerned that any life of a Ugandan is unfairly treated. I feel for that sentiment, and from my background as a freedom fighter, you don't expect that we pride in any situation where lives are lost or lives feel threatened. On that side, on that concern, we are on the same side. But let me appeal to you as compatriots. It takes two to tango. You, like us, belong to a professional family requiring professionalism. And my take on all this is that if we all care to stick to professionalism, these unnecessary, unfortunate incidents will be minimized. I don't want to see overzealousness among our own personnel, and that's why my department is there. And the record is clear, of course, where we have come from and where we are. The strides are significant. We've come from a long way. And the emphasis was that you cannot have a military, you cannot have a state that is a threat to its own population. And our standards are very clear. We have had many challenges because there is no state in the world which does not get threatened. States exist because they recognize the issue of threats, both internal and external. And when you are mitigating some of these threats, at times there are operational challenges. Now, you who belong to the profession of journalism, you are much aware that when you are covering especially events that border on conflict, there are rules of engagement. And this issue of professionalism ought to be from both sides. Because rules of engagement, what I know from the little I have studied, are that if you are covering a volatile situation, you ought to identify clearly the side that may offer you clear protection. If you just mingle with a situation that is already volatile, it may be difficult to discern who is the main actor in that volatile situation and who is an innocent actor. So I am really not saying you are wrong, but I am only appealing to ourselves. Act professional. Even listening to some of you, the way you are presenting yourselves, I get an impression that you are moving into a different terrain of activism. And activism has its own dynamics. So once you are a journalist, prove to us that you are exercising professionalism. I have already regretted, and I'm saying, let us all, please. You don't need even to agitate, because we are priests of rights. You are really talking to the converted. But if you don't want to agree that professionalism will help both of us, on our side, we are asking for professionalism. But I would also beg gently, let's revisit professional standards as we do work. Whatever is happening and what you are raising, our two spokespersons are going to address it in detail. But what CDF of course indicated to me is that every event that raises public concern takes or calls for thorough investigation. And what I hear took place, I think these last few days, it is under investigation. And anybody, because we shouldn't also call for a situation where it's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That leads into a breakdown, and you can have an anarchical situation. If there is anybody from our side who has acted unprofessionally, we pledge to you that we shall come to the bottom of that matter. So I just want us to restrain our emotions, while really we also should really urge ourselves that we don't degenerate in a situation where lives are lost, where bodies are injured. It's regrettable, and some of us definitely cannot take pride in such a situation. So get our assurances. On the whole, everybody wants a peaceful situation. We are in an election which is being held in an abnormal situation. You are watching games in Europe. Games those Europeans used to have fun. You would see stadia full to capacity, people having fun. But now people are watching virtual games. Things are not normal. The problem we are having is that we have a situation where people are saying, for us, you cannot force us in living a new normal. The new normal is put on us by circumstances we couldn't control. So let's all not think things are normal. And as young people, really we think you should care about your country remaining a stable country where you can harness your opportunities and also be part of the global glory. But if you want to really ignore situations that can slide your country into abnormality, because we know very well the state of our health facilities. Recently, I understand you went to Murago, you saw what is there. But when you ignore all that, like what I hear, Electoral Commission stopped processions, but you find some people involved in processions. That calls a situation of confrontation. Why are people insisting on processions? What point are they making? What point are they making? You are here, you tell me. Electoral Commission says we have been guided by Minister of Health, no processions. All those situations which bring this volatile atmosphere are a result of processions. Can't we, for once, be patriots and say, let's have order, let's have stability, and the country continues? Because really, as you heard from the CDF, impunity is the last thing the security forces will tolerate. If you know the word impunity, please, let's avoid that and see whether we are not going to coexist peacefully. We shall coexist peacefully. We have a problem. Our society generally has not risen to the levels of being disciplined. In countries, for example, where these Europeans come, when they say, don't do this, for them, they are used to those standards. In Asia, you wouldn't even be having people being policed. But we don't appreciate the level at which our people are, and we want to endanger them the more. Let's appeal for discipline. Let's appeal for lawful activities. And when our people act in a wrong way, I'll be your side. You be assured of that.
Yeah. Let us have the last three. Lady, one question. My colleague, one question. And another one was not asked any question before. So those are the two, and the thank you.
Please, come. You are? From? France 22. Mm. Come.
Have any orders ever been given to target journalists?
You are a journalist, right? Have you ever come across something like rules of engagement? You have, and you know it.
You're speaking of in war?
In volatile situations. You can have operations other than war. You can have military operations, but always there are rules of engagement. Even in a disaster, there must be rules of engagement. If, for example, it's a pandemic like this one, it is a disaster like landslides, you as long as military and other security agencies go into operations, there must be minimum rules of engagement. So there can't be an order to target journalists, but the journalists as a professional group know better than anybody else that there are such a things as rules of engagement. And I know you know it.
Last question.
So I'm coming back, but you know, the lecture you've given us is a lecture that is meant for the politicians, because as journalists.
But you are also talking as politicians now.
As journalists, our mandate is to cover what is happening. If a politician is holding rallies and processions, for us to cover what is happening. So the security agencies should be at least, because for us what we are told.
Can I also ask you?
Run to the police if things escalate when we are in the field.
My son of Daily Monitor, can I ask you, when these people, like you are educated people, you heard what Electoral Commission put out before this exercise began. Now, if you see that there are politicians who are ignoring and defying those operating procedures, your own patriotic responsibility, how do you relate to it as a patriot?
Ethics of journalism. Our ethics don't tell us to be patriotic or either to be partisan. They tell us to go report nothing but the truth. We don't tell Bobby Wine or Mr. Museveni to gather people to go on roadsides. What we do, we go to cover. Let me tell you a scenario. Assuming we are patriotic as you presume, how about a police officer in the name of Baine, who comes at a journalist, you mad, collateral damage, and throws something, and the next day wait for a police spokesperson to say, you know, it was hit by a UFO, unidentified object. That drama, the lines will only start, when your children will be weeping there. Tell us that you people don't cover, we will stay home. Oh, okay, you give us jobs and we quit journalism. We are poor people. Our country have failed to create jobs. Nia would have quit long time ago. I was tear gassed as a boy when Kizza Besigye was announcing himself as a president. I failed to breathe for nearly 4 months. But I'm here to serve my people. We are stakeholders, we are fourth estate. We are working under specific ethics, but known to be patriotic, known to be whatever partisan, known to be politicians. When someone urinates there, it is what I write. He urinated, so long as I don't intervene in the security of this country. There is a full article in the constitution of this country protecting us. We have a toothless media council that takes concern of registering us instead of fighting for us. People die. Our father, you no longer play sex. That's important. I'm telling you, I have a child. My wife is good. She's a 26-year-old girl. Put it on TV. My father-in-law is in Kawempe. You should know. I no longer play sex. I was beaten by people who are supposed to protect us. What's wrong when a LDU comes and I presented my ID humbly and I tell you I'm a journalist. Kindly, don't beat me. I was meant to clean a road at White's because, you know, people were rioting. I presented my, you are in a press jacket. You are battered by, you know, those black and human beings in our uniforms. For sure, we love you so much. We love this force. But one thing, we are tired. Fellow journalists, we did not get an apology from our officer.
We are united.
You have to fight for your rights. We cannot tolerate this.
If you think those guys are treated this time, yes, I know, I understand. And but I'm the one who is supposed to give the apology. That's what we had arranged. We shall listen to that apology tomorrow. Why not today? Not today. We respect you. We value you.
Kubanga era kati batunonya batukuba mwanyina nze sikyazanya mu buli bankuba abasajja bo batukuba ate no batongerezako ebigambo tukube tulowooze nti okoze mistake but collateral damage as who okitegeera mwatugamba identifying nga tukikoze mutugambye ebintu byonna mutugambye okugenda ku media council tubikoze kiki kye tutakoze lwaki mutusiba. They assume what wagira Bobby Wine. No. We don't even care over who Bobby Wine is. We are doing our job.
Anyone who comes.
This is our job. Journalism is not a crime.
One of the things that hurt us, when you cover President Museveni, then you're a good journalist. When you cover the opposition, then you become a bad journalist. So what exactly do they want us to do? Do they want us to quit media? When you cover the opposition, then you are very bad. When you cover NRM, then you are a very good journalist. So what should we do? We respect you, Afandis, but at least for once, let's do this in solidarity.
Is that the apology you want?
Musigarewo. They can't take all of you. Musigarewo. They can't take all of you.
Don't go inside.
Don't go inside.